Of course, this is something of a homecoming for one of our own. I'm talking, of course, about Felix Biederman. You know, it's great to be here in Chicago with him. He loves Chicago every time we visit. We especially love it because we like to share Felix's love.
Love it.
We love it.
Oh, truly love it.
Truly, a local boy makes good hosts.
I'm probably the most successful person ever from, let alone Chicago, but definitely Hyde Park.
No,
100%.
we love being here with Felix, because he loves Chicago so much. And he loves every other city we visit and the one he lives in, and would never, of course, insult any of the places we're from or complain about them constantly. So great to be here in Chicago. Real quick, on the drive-in yesterday, coming into Chicago, just two things of note that I have to share with you. One was a billboard for a local afternoon radio host whose name was Tim Virgin. We got some Virgins in the crowd tonight?
I prefer Steve Chad, who comes on right after
And the other thing was, off the highway coming into Chicago, I saw there's a huge warehouse, and on the side of it they had a huge mural dedicated to never forget Pearl Harbor. And I was like, come on, Chicago, get your own, disaster and/or terrorist attack.
No, they mean never forget our great victory at Pearl Harbor.
Exactly. Felix corrected me that Chicago is actually huge fans of Japanese imperialism, and they wanted to make that mural as a dedication to Admiral Yamamoto's great victory at Tora Tora Tora.
If we just joined the greater Asian co-prosperity sphere, none of these issues would have happened.
Yeah, I mean, that same billboard, it also says never forget 9/11, and it's like, the New Yorkers from a more conservative place, they thought it was like an anti-9/11 thing. And, okay, all I can say is, we were always thinking 2 steps ahead. How come you think that 9/11 has never happened here? We respected it. Actually, that billboard is a sign of respect for the people that accomplished 9/11.
The reason that those wouldn't be a 9/11 in Chicago is because they wouldn't have to fucking attack the Willis Tower. They could just pay for the naming rights. And then own you all by calling it like the Al Qaeda Tower. And you're like, hey, the check cleared. There's nothing else we can do.
I kept calling it the Sears Tower coming in, and Matt kept correcting me because he said, listen, Bruce Willis paid money to have that name.
How dare you, sir? He started dozens of shitty direct-to-fucking-video movies in the last decade where he plays a harried cop on his last nerve just to afford to have the naming rights to the Willis Tower.
He did Die Hard 5
Yes.
just to pay that off, so show some goddamn respect for the Bruce Willis Tower in downtown Chicago. Like I said, this is Felix's hometown. We're on stage right now in the House of Blues. This is like the ultimate revenge for Felix because he says all the time, as a kid growing up here, he would have teachers, family members, friends even, fake friends who would say, Felix, if you ever host the equivalent of a radio show on some sort of giant shared computer network that hasn't been invented yet, maybe you could do a show at the Hideout, but definitely never at the House of Blues. Give it up for Felix.
Thank you guys so much, and I've come up with an 100% original thing that my supporters can say. If you support me, this is 100% original. Just say yes, we can. I invented it.
I have to think you overcome all the bullying at the hands of Mean Girls, Sasha and Malia Obama.
Actually, I have no problem with Sasha. Malia is just like toxic.
So Chicago, so far on our Midwest tour, we have been staying at accommodations I would describe as motels that Anton Chigurh has visited the night before we checked in. It's been pretty good. but we all get our own rooms. The floors are a little damp for some reason. But
Oh yeah, classic wet floor Midwest.
Somebody had a lot of fun with some tape. They made these hilarious body-shaped art projects on the floor.
and I was like, oh, I'll lie like that.
Yeah.
Oh, in Will's room in Pittsburgh, there were literally just dents in his wall from a guy punching it. That's like in Pittsburgh. That's like the best room in the hotel. Oh, dude, you got the pissed room.
Not a joke. There was no fewer than a dozen cigarette burns on the bedspread. Yeah, incredible.
Only way to prevent bed bugs. I don't see where you're going.
So, but when we went to book our accommodations for Chicago, we realized everything was booked up because it's like Comic-Con or some bullshit this weekend in Chicago. So we had to use, of course, parasitic real estate speculation website Airbnb. And yeah, boo to them. You're gonna boo again after I tell you this story. Okay, so some Airbnbs, they just have like the key in a little like lockbox. You can just walk into the house, and if you're one of the rare people who travel a lot and know what to do when you enter a house, and how to let's say get into bed or use a toilet, you don't need these things explained to you, but you're a pro. Yeah. Some of them, maybe even the majority of them, have to be sort of hosted and explained to you by the local land barons and property owners. Everything we've done so far at Airbnbs, the person who comes to explain it to us or let us into the house or bring the drain snake and unclog the toilet after Virgil has been in there for 40 minutes.
No, that's not as
is sort of a local oaf, usually the proprietor's uncle or cousin or something like that. We have dubbed them the sort of the Torgo of the Airbnbs after Manos, the Hands of Fate. Has anyone seen that movie?
They keep the place while the master is away.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who haven't seen it, Torgo is sort of a hunchback grotesque who is essentially a caretaker.
Thighful, very thighful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Slim Thick.
Who's essentially the caretaker of the master's property. So thus far, we've only had Torgo-esque experiences. Folks, in Chicago, we finally met the master.
Oh yeah.
We finally met the Airbnb final boss. And I have to share this story with you guys, because it is fucking incredible. So we get to the location, and then we have like at least an hour or two before we can check in. First of all, keep in mind, this guy's been sending Virgil passive-aggressive emails for about a month.
Not even about the Airbnb. It's like, hey, maybe if you guys wanted less echo, you could record in a smaller room. He's been listening to the show just to insult us. It's like he's a regular fan.
Yeah. The Rentier class is very big on being like, do you really think blazers are good for your body type?
When we book the Airbnbs, I send like a stock message that says, "Hey, we're a group of people in town for business. We just want to stay at your place."
We're doing deals.
We're business people.
And this guy gives me the third degree. He says, "What's your business?" And I have to admit, we're a fucking podcast, Jesus. And then we started arguing about parking. He was very concerned with whether or not we would be able to park there. And I say, he asked me the size of the dimensions of our vehicle. I say, we haven't rented it yet. He said, well, that's great. Can you give me the dimensions of it? And I say, it's a van. It's like a 12-seater van. He says, there's only 5 people staying here. Why do you need a 12-seater van? Like, he
Gotcha.
Oh, dude, you got us. We're doing human trafficking. I give up. You're good.
I remember one email he got to you where like you responded to him and he goes, "Oh, Virgil, what a surprise to hear from you again." Like, you had been like, "Virgil,
No,
how come you ain't recalled?"
He said, I thought you had forgotten about me. It was like 14 hours later.
Hello.
I am gonna admit. I'm gonna admit some wrongdoing. This is kind of my fault. I did fuck the Airbnb owner and not call him back.
Okay, so like, that's a preview of the master. And then we finally get there, and he shows up and meets us to give us like our parking passes, which you have to change every 12 hours.
He calls me up and I meet him in front of the house, and he gives me the parking passes, And he just kind of stands there smiling, and I'm thinking, are you going to give me the keys and fuck off or what? Then he asked me where I parked, and we just parked like 3 houses down, this van. And he said, that's a very dangerous area where you just park. You should park across the street where it's very well lit. And I don't have the skills to respond to that in a respectful way. I'll talk to someone about it.
Yeah, I want to point out that they're staying like
hang on.
their exact address.
So he didn't give me the keys then, and I say, why don't we go to the van? And he follows me to the van where Will and Amber are, and then I guess wants to monitor us taking luggage out of the van.
He watched us like a statue removing all of our luggage from the van, and then he brings us to the house itself. Now, keep in mind, he told me, making awful small conversation, that he's from Schaumburg, Illinois. Okay, so that will color where this story is going. That will keep that in mind. So we walk to in front of the house, and he's going to begin his whole spiel. Now we're waiting outside of the house, just wanting to do anything but get away from him and just get inside and shut him the fuck up.
Yes.
He waits outside and he goes, now you see these 2 lights here? These are flood security lamps. And we're just waiting in front of this house, and he goes, look, now, I don't want to scare you or anything, but I feel compelled to tell you that, if you're going to be staying here or you're going to be taking cars or anything, do not go in any of the alleys. Do not let a car take you down any of the alleys, because there are no lamps and people are often robbed and pistol whipped coming out of cars.
He said this is a high crime area. I don't want to scare you, but all of Chicago is like that. There's just gun violence and gangs, and you look like good people. I don't want to see you get hurt and murdered.
I had just been to the drugstore and had seen nothing but extremely hot college girls and like alpha level homosexual men.
Well, no, there are some rough gangs in that area. That's why I chose not to stay with you guys. You have the marketing boys, the big scarf girls. It's a fucking scary area, dude.
He proceeds to
no idea.
So he literally tells us to, like, after dark, just stay in the light, like it's some weird horror movie, like an X-Files episode with the bugs that will take you if it's out of the light or something. He's like, stay within the lit security zone. I can't
It's
stress.
like Fortnite, where like the storm is falling in.
He's like, I can't stress this enough. I don't want to make you afraid, but literally this happens everywhere in Chicago. Okay, are you guys ready for this? You know the neighborhood we're actually staying in? Wicker Park.
It's terrifying! No, I mean, there are like Wicker Park, that's where Chief Keef is from. It's like, I know like, all of you guys, you're from pretty bad neighborhoods, like a lot of you are from Naperville. But Wicker Park it's a fucking scary.
Yeah, the guy.
The street was just full of like white gay men with strollers. Like,
Yeah, he said to us, you do not want to wear Lululemon in this neighborhood.
30 people a day in Wicker Park are disinvited from private brunch groups.
Literally on the corner to like the high street, which is just about the most gentrified hipster bullshit I've ever seen. I should know, we can smell our own.
There's a fucking place called a Brewtique.
Right on our corner, there is literally a place, it's like a restaurant cocktail lounge called Beach Vibes. So after
I felt so safe, I wanted to rob strangers.
Yeah, the tradition, like Wicker Park, it's dominated by the gangs. If somebody comes up to you, they're wearing a beanie that's somehow like half on their head, and he rubs your shoulder and goes, "So good to see you, brother. How are you eating, man?" He's saying, "What's your set? Where you're from."
So this just absolute suburban psycho mindset, for whom, like, he grew up in the suburbs of Illinois, Chicago, and for him, like, the city of Chicago is just this monolith that dominates his imagination.
and has since his entire childhood as like the murder rape capital of the world.
We're just, violent crimes are happening everywhere all the time. He felt the need to tell us this. And then, take us on a tour of this shitty Airbnb rental property for about 20 minutes.
Before he even, he handed me the keys and then proceeded to explain what each key did and then how to operate a fucking lock on a door. So I opened the front door and then I opened the next door. He says, "Oh, you got ahead of me there."
You know, but the thing is,
He's very smart.
that does sort of make his hysterical alarmism make sense because yes, for an adult, Wicker Park is obviously a very safe area. But you know, if you just wander around saying to any stranger you meet, "Are you my mommy?" that could be dangerous, and that's clearly what he thought we were.
It's a very scary area if you're Tommy Pickles.
You know, more and more people are saying it's like the #1 most dangerous neighborhood for people without object permanence.
It's a baby's day out, no-go zone.
He said, he shows us, he's beaming with pride, he says we got a VCR here and a DVD player. Here, now here's how you turn the TV on. You press this on button, and then you see that a light will go on, and then the television will go on. Now you want to turn it off, you're going to use that same button.
Now, if you feel the need to process the food you eat as human ways, you're going to want to open your asshole over this thing. It has water in it, but avoid drinking it, especially after you put your poo-poo in it.
They open
He
up.
itemized the towels and the number of soaps that he left for us. He provided us with security.
And he gave us a baseball bat.
He gave us a baseball
He
bat.
literally said,
We thought it was a joke. And then he's like,
Oh.
I don't want to scare you, but this is for security. And we were like, haha. And then he was standing there expectantly because he wanted us to take it.
and this is hilarious because we're coming from Detroit. And he goes, I swear to God, he's taking us around the house and we're all just dying for him to leave. And I swear to God, he looks at all the blankets and he goes, all of the blankets here are very seasonally appropriate. And I swear to God, Virgil and I made eye contact for a half a second and had to look away immediately to keep from laughing out loud at this guy.
He literally wanted to show us every single bedroom and explain how the light switches work.
The room, the Torgo room.
Right, so then, this is another thing he gave us a third degree about. He said, you know, hey, if you got an extra person, I can rent you another room for $150. Didn't you see it in the description? And also, that's the thing that these dickhead Airbnb guys do. They blame you for not having read something in the fucking long description that explains where every fucking supermarket is in a 1 mile radius. Like, I don't care. Just rent me a place. You're running a fucking bootleg hotel.
Okay. Dennis Leary, everybody.
So he
www.blowme.com.
So he shows us the Torgo room. He opens a door and there's just a wooden staircase leading up. And I don't go
And down.
because I'm finished with this interaction. I'm just straight to drinking at this point. But he took Amber up, and I remember seeing Chris and Will and wondering where Amber was. I was, oh my God, she's alone with the master. She's going to join the others.
So this Torgo room, that was the extra room, and I was like, well, whatever, it's in the back. I have some work to do. I'll take the quiet room. And he's like, this is my favorite room. I built it. So I was immediately like, okay, I'm going to pretend to make this room and then make a man take this room because I don't want him knowing that's where I'm sleeping at night. He opens the door, a draft hits, like a really hard, cold draft. And that's what used to be like what we would call a mud room. And off of the mud room, there is what I can only describe as a cardboard box covered in aluminum siding with a bed and a space heater in it, where he obviously keeps the Torgo and expected me to sleep. And later I was just like, Chris, you have to take this. I can't let this person know I'm sleeping, where I'm sleeping.
So that is our incredible, utterly baffling interaction. The first thing we do when we get into Chicago, and our report on Murder Capital USA, Wicker Park.
By the way, I got a message from him. When we check out tomorrow, he's going to be there, and he's looking forward to seeing us all again.
Yeah, because he was watching us while we sleep all night.
He's probably in the crowd tonight. I feel a little bad about this.
Yeah, you know he's on some Chuck Berry shit.
I mean, you guys
He's in a lot of content from us.
You guys think you have it bad, but like the person I'm staying with is my mom, and like it's like been a nightmare. You know, honestly, she has she has like one of the coffee machines that's like above Keurig. And, you know, once I find out what BDS is, I'm pretty sure she's breaking it. And I will be calling my mom out.
Drag your mom.
Mom's are the original Torgos.
While this was all going on, Felix was just sending us cute pictures of his mom's doggy.
No, I'm having a wonderful time. I'm literally just having a great time. I'm doing all the stuff I did growing up, which is just like stumbling out of my bedroom to drink 3 Diet Pepsis and pet the dog and then go back in and game. But, you know, this time it's okay because my mom doesn't have to worry about me getting a job anymore because it is my job.
Local boy makes good. What a heartwarming story this is. So, moving on, as you said, this is the Felix Biederman homecoming, and being on stage here in Chicago, we wanted to do something Chicago related. And one of Felix's biggest hobbies and interests, other than gaming, of course, is corrupt Illinois politicians.
But we are synthesizing the two things. As you guys know, I love the tabletop game, Dungeoning Dragons.
Who amongst us does not?
So we have prepared a little, it's sort of a countdown of the best, most shit-headed Illinois politicians for you. But we're going to do it a little differently, and we're going to map out our 9 candidates on the D&D character alignment chart. Here we go. If you're familiar with the D&D character chart,
There are listeners. Yes, they are.
Dude, they love D&D and Call of Cthulhu.
To be honest, the fact that it's Comic-Con weekend and that we have anyone in the crowd makes me so happy.
So yeah, this is how you map out your characters along this sort of like axis of good, neutral, and evil, lawful, neutral, and chaotic. So starting with lawful good, we see that's the Crusader. This is the Crusader character. Neutral good, the benefactor. Chaotic good, the rebel. Lawful neutral, the judge. True neutral, the undecided voter. Chaotic neutral, the free spirit. Lawful evil, the dominator. Neutral evil, the malefactor. Chaotic evil, the dang joker.
Too twisted for words.
Sorry to frighten you. This is not supposed to be a Halloween-themed show.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I would not come here tonight if I knew there were ghouls.
So this is the matrix in which we're going to plot out these 9 figures. But why don't we get it started? I mean, we're gonna slot them out when we're all done. But let's just go through the 9 Illinois shithead scumbag assholes that Felix Biederman has curated for us. Felix, why don't you kick it off?
All right, I'm top of my list, and of course, it's, you know, you guys are my panel of judges, how we align these people, but I'm going to give you a bit of a softball to start out. Dennis Hastert. Let me check my Dungeon Master manual. Gelatinous child molester who was first clipped for earmarking $207 million for an expressway that would run through property he did not disclose he owned. Hastert was later convicted of structuring bank withdrawals to conceal corruption and being a hideous sex fiend. He was a rubber stamp for heroic everyman Tom DeLay and George W. Bush, a hero of the resistance.
He invented a rule, though, that's still in effect for the House Republicans.
So that's lawful.
lost.
That's more lawful.
Yeah, it's very lawful. I just love that it's like, they will just say, we have to invoke the Hastert rule here. It's like, look, this isn't going to pass unless we can make it conform with the Dahmer rule, all right?
The Hastert rule is that, like, there at least needs to be, like, one guy in House GOP leadership who is a child molester wrestling coach.
Yeah.
Jim Jordan,
Yes.
come on down! Jim Jordan is the Joe Paterno to Dennis Hastert's Jerry Sandusky when it comes to child raping college wrestling coaches.
The Hastert rule is just the, if there's grass on the field if you went to law school.
Too soon? Dennis Hastert, incredible. The longest serving Republican Speaker of the House.
It's true.
Is not, you have to be very careful here, is not a convicted child molester.
Yes.
He was only convicted of lying to the FBI in connection with paying millions of dollars in hush money to pay off someone who knew what he actually did as a wrestling coach.
That's not the same thing. Yeah. Well, I was going to say evil, but I'm going to go that's more neutral.
I am surprised by the pick of lawful evil.
Yeah, I would say lawful evil. I mean, they have a rule named after him, for God's sake.
All right. You guys are the players. I'll let you put Dennis Hastert as lawful evil.
Well, just one more quick fact about Dennis Hastert that I learned while doing research on the dark web about him. On May 7th, 2010, Hastert was conferred the Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun by Emperor Akihito of Japan.
Very cool. So I guess that pretty firmly puts him in lawful evil then. If he is a samurai, that's pretty cool.
He's the last samurai.
I mean, samurais did have, they got issued a boy, so this is very accurate.
And taught them cool fighting skills as well, in addition to molesting them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Oh my God, he is the last samurai. Holy shit. Fuck off, Tom Cruise.
This is why I love
Also a chomo.
This is why I love Dungeons and Dragons. You never know what you're gonna get. Let's go on to our next guy. Former Governor George Ryan. Now, I consider George Ryan the gritty anti-hero of Illinois gubernatorial politics. He was the first guy who I held contrarian opinions about so I could feel alive. And that opinion was that George Ryan just plain rocked. He actually cared about infrastructure long before it was cool, when our great president Donald Trump made every week infrastructure week. He put a moratorium on the death penalty and commuted everyone on death row sentence.
That's very good. Or a Republican doing that.
And here's the best thing he did. He increased accessibility to CDL licenses by just selling them personally.
So you're saying that he is the venom of Illinois politics?
I would say that, yes. The CDL thing is ostensibly the thing that got him locked up, but this is a recurring theme in our chart. I think that George Ryan was a consolation prize for the B League of Feds, the Northern Illinois Federal Prosecutor's Office, who could never get Daley, his wet, crying, blubbering ass. So they had to settle for George Ryan, who was just trying to make the roads as safe as possible. What do you guys think?
I want to say, the death penalty thing is great, so I want to say neutral good.
I'd say maybe lawful good. Even though he broke laws.
Yeah,
I think he's in the. Just for death penalty moratorium alone, I think he gets in the good bracket, and we'll figure out where he lands.
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
All right. Who we got next?
Richard J. Daley.
Richard J.O. Daley.
All right, I have a lot for this entry. I'll just get started. A right cunt and a bloody legend.
He was simply epic, folks.
Richard J. Daley was a brute force berserker who used a special Bog 8 modifier to turbo build America's best and worst political machine in Cook County. Instead of being hampered by Chicago's comparatively weak mayoral office, Daley used his power as head of the Chicago Democratic Party to do as he saw fit. He sent his dumbest idiots to Springfield to vote how he wanted, and put guys who were destined to be SS, but got screwed up in Mormon soul assignment HR department in heaven, and ended up as Irish Americans in Chicago, in the Chicago Police Department. Daley had his good side, such as realizing Irish people were too racist to live near any other residence, and using Stan Ryan as a de facto segregation line. But he also did bad things, like pretty much all the stuff that he ever did. Like his son, Daley was prone to malapropisms and looking like shit. Daley's unparalleled power began to wane when he was humiliated by hip-hop diva George McGovern at the 1972 Democratic National Convention. Just 4 years after his honor, told a bunch of protesters at the same convention in Chicago, "Let's see how tough you are when my friends are here with guns." Just 4 years later, the megalomaniac freak's heart went beast mode on him and killed him. R.I.P.
That sounds like neutral evil to me.
Well, I would put in, I just think of the famous quote where he said, "The police are not here to promote disorder, the police are here to preserve disorder." And that makes me think that he's chaotic evil.
That's a dang Joker quote, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Very Joker.
Richard J. Daley famously said, "Want to know how I got these jowls?"
I don't think the Joker was as anti-Semitic as Richard.
Want to know how I got these protocols? Let's put some parentheses on that name.
Let's see if you can count to 6 million.
Want to know how I got these bungalows?
All right, who's next on our list?
All right. I consider this woman a tragic figure. Betty Lauren Maltese.
Time.
Cicero, stand up. Maltese was cast as an arch-villain of crooked Illinois politics in the 90s, but a modern lens reveals a woman who was forced by the mob to stay in a loveless marriage to mafia journeyman and Cicero assessor Frank Maltese, and then lived the rest of her life accordingly. Through a series of mishaps, Maltese ended up as town president of Cicero, which was meant to be cast down like Sodom and Gomorrah, but was spared due to a clerical error. Maltese was unusually generous with social services for seniors for a Republican, but because people are complex, she also stole millions of dollars from Cicero. Maltese was a legendary baller who went psycho mode, gambling $19 million in Las Vegas alone. All good things come to an end, as Maltese was apprehended in 2000. The Cicero candy store is closed, famously said Illinois FBI Chief Kathleen McChesney, using a corny line that was originally purposed for the Ruby Ridge headshot-only expert mode speedrun. Maltese's theft was comically inept and stupid, but I've come to see her as a scapegoat. Another consolation prize for federal law enforcement who could never get their big prize in Richard M. Daley, and had to settle for a lady who was forced into a strange and large life. Now free, Maltese is reported on every single time she has to take a wage job or have an estate sale to meet restitution or not starve to death, all because she didn't wait till she was done to take her payday like Jeff Flake.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I got some Jeff Flake fans in the house tonight. Stand up, Jeff Flake, stand up. All right, who's next?
Oh, but how do you cast her?
She sounds like a chaotic neutral to me.
I agree.
Like just about those stats.
I would say
Fuck up, yeah.
I'm putting her in the good category.
Really?
I'm putting her in the good tier.
Your good category is getting crowded. Your good crowd is getting crowded.
I don't think she's good because acting in self-interest is a classic evil thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She didn't really do any good work. She just kind of did what she wanted. Like,
I mean, we
roll
got-
those bones in Vegas.
We gotta
Don't
put
get me wrong, I look forward to her biopic played by Megan Mullally, but she's not good.
All right, who's next?
Dan Rostenkowski. How many Polish congressmen does it take to sell out welfare? A faulty prototype of the DLC Democrat, this bulldog-faced Cook County stall / regular wart compromised away on the tax code, welfare, and a myriad of other things, using his power on the Ways and Means Committee during the Reagan administration. In this time frame, he nearly redeemed himself when he got a DUI in Wisconsin.
You know how
But
tough you have to be.
Fucking Illinois drivers!
But neither Eminem nor Fort Minor had been invented yet, so he did not realize badass redemption. He just kept being a dumb piece of shit. He was later convicted of mail fraud and using office funds to buy his friends rocking chairs and giving other friends no-show jobs. He was later pardoned by Bill Clinton, whom he presumably promised a rocking chair to.
I'm sorry, rocking chairs?
Yes. He famously cried to a friend, "I'm going to prison because I gave my friend a rocking chair."
Look, this guy sounds bad, but honestly, we all have to be very thankful that he wasn't on the Armed Services Committee, because imagine how many screen-doored submarines would have sunk.
I never given or received a rocking chair. Is this a Chicago thing or a Polish,
Chicago way,
Polish
yeah.
excellence thing?
It's Polish excellence in the Chicago way. Polish people circumcise their babies on rocking chairs.
God damn it!
Felix, where does he fall on the chart?
Well, evil, you can't be evil if you don't know the difference between right and wrong. Do you think he knew?
That's true.
Do you think he knew?
Well, that's the big flaw in the daily alignment system, because the question of good and evil is going to be dependent on your individual morals.
And he gave his friends rocking chairs, so he probably thinks
That's
he's
good.
Yeah.
He's good.
He doesn't know the difference between the truth and a
Yeah,
lie.
lawful good.
Did we do chaotic good?
Doesn't know the difference between
I think there's a pretty easy shoe-in for chaotic good.
Yeah, lawful good. Maybe good neutral.
Neutral good?
Yeah, neutral good.
Neutral good?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Who's next?
Okay. I think we all know who our favorite guy is. Give me Big Rod Blagojevich.
God damn, we love it! We love it! Oh, we love it! Look at that hair, folks!
Serbian excellence.
Move over, Milosevic!
If Illinois Politics was a TV show directed by Kurt Sutter, the hero would absolutely be Rod Blagojevich. He is not an entirely smart man. He is not somebody with a comprehensive plan. But he has a huge heart. And he screams every single illegal thing he is going to do out loud for all to hear. Blacko was at one time an amateur boxer, going 6-1, the one being a loss that we can safely assume was due to endless cheating by his opponent.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he found a greater opponent later in life, the boxer known as politics. Rod made his fair share of mistakes, such as voting for the Iraq War as a congressman, telling a group of black school children that he considered himself Illinois' first black governor.
That makes sense.
Wait a second, what was the context of that?
None.
The Serbs were the blacks of the Ottoman Empire. We all know that.
And banning the sales of selective video games to minors, which was later overturned by the Supreme Court, and alienating the state legislature through bizarre behavior to the point that he could not get a single bill passed in some sessions. But it was his stupid heart that cared so much. He made ballsy moves, like when he threatened to cut off all state business with Bank of America because they wouldn't extend loans to a factory that closed down in Illinois. Or when he forced pharmacists to fill prescriptions that violated their stupid fucking religious beliefs at a time of great social conservative fervor. Anyway, he was caught on tape calling Barack Obama's vacant Senate seat fucking golden. And he was sentenced to 14 years by Boyd prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald.
He's been through so much, though. Like, he actually got punished for his crimes.
Yeah.
Every morning, he has to drag a lady Bic in between his eyebrows and his hair to create a division. I think he's good.
Rod's mistake was a characteristically Illinois one. He did something that every rotten governor in his position does, but he just said it in such a stupid and blatant way that he might as well just like come out wearing a shirt that said, "I love going to jail."
That's the thing. It's the real tragedy of Blagojevich is that he went down just as Twitter was coming out, because if he had survived into the Twitter era, he would have been like, "Yo, who wants this Senate seat? Venmo in the bio."
Do you have his greatest achievement, though, in my opinion, was going on Celebrity Apprentice.
Which is what might get him a pardon, by the way. Because Trump has talked about pardoning him. And that would fucking rule. So that's fine. Doctor, he was good on the show. And the hair. Do you see the hair, folks?
Yeah. Their hair from others.
Dr. President Donald Trump, please free our Rod.
Yeah, no, chaotic good, for sure.
Absolutely.
Chaotic good. No, I would say lawful good. He is the chivalrous knight of Illinois.
He's not good
He's
at
chaotic,
laws.
dude. Come on.
All right, next one.
Richard M. Daley.
Richard motherfucking Daley.
Richard Hussein Daley.
Richard M. never had the unparalleled control over Cook County that his dad did, but he made up for it by being equally corrupt. Daley cut his teeth as his dad's most well-developed tumor in the Illinois State Senate, but did not fully metastasize until he hid John Burge's torture reports under his big wide ass as Cook County State Attorney. Richard the Younger finally assumed his birthright as mayor of Chicago in 1989, holding it for 22 years, and he privatized like the pink elephants were telling him to.
Beating Harold Washington, right?
Yep. In that whole time, he did one cool thing.
No, Harold Washington died in office. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was Jane Byrne. Sorry, I should have looked that up, but I was watching blackout videos. Sorry. In that whole time, he did one cool thing, which was demolishing the small airport of Meigsfield illegally at the dead of night over some really weird FAA bullshit post 9/11, and I was here for it.
God, I love pandering to the crowd with airport jokes.
It's not a joke. That was cool.
An airport? Let me hear it if you hated that fucking airport. I have no idea what you're talking about. Was it good? Was the airport good? Was it bad? I don't know. Apparently it's bad.
Yeah, some cheap heat here.
Now, Cessna pilots, they fly a plane like this, but Boeing pilots, they fly a plane like this.
You can thank Richard M. for the utterly baffling and shitty parking meter system we got before the rest of the country did. The only one that went directly to Morgan Stanley. Daley tried obtaining the Olympics for Chicago by going to the European sex pests who run the athletic body and doing his best sales job of, come on, I'm trying my best. You're so fucking lucky I'm not crying right now. The American Pharaoh's fail song sucked so bad that we elected a 5'6" Democratic Leadership Council board whose only identifiable personality trait was swearing right after him.
He also ate shit during the recounts thing in 2000. People forget that. He was like the point man for the Gore campaign.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so strike three.
How do you condemn Richard the Younger?
Somewhere neutral.
Yeah,
chaotic
he seems like
neutral.
a dish rag piece of shit. Just like a contemporary Democrat, just like a face with a money sign where his features should be.
I like the airport thing. That's cool.
Yeah. That's why I legally voted for him as a child.
Every Democrat elected, like after 1984, is just a fucking Sims character.
All right, who we got next?
Rahm Emanuel.
Yes! Yeah!
I'm very disappointed in you all. He's trying his best.
All right. I know you guys think
He lost his finger.
Wait, what does that say up there? The mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, came to my job. Still can't stand that motherfucker, though.
No one
And he's at Bon Spontane, Hyde Park.
I gotta say, it is sort of a shame of Chicago that you fucking elected him twice, but nobody got owned by his constituents more consistently than Rahm Emanuel, and for that you should all take a bow.
Dude, fucking Archduke Ferdinand got owned by his constituents less than Rahm Emanuel. Okay, I know that you think I'm going to be very harsh to him, and it's true. If I was going to categorize, I would have to categorize all of Rahm Emanuel's evil acts by financial quarter going back to 1993 when he started as a remora fish under Bill Clinton, all the way to him covering up police murders as mayor. But, unlike anyone else on one guy on this list, Rahm is still in office. He has a chance to turn it around. So let's be honest. I won't be listening to critiques or boos or anything. I think Rahm can still turn it around.
Yeah, so he's like a true neutral. He could go either way. We don't know.
True neutral.
Yeah.
True neutral.
We all believe in you, Rahm. We believe you can do it.
All right. Let's go to our final guy.
Let's do it.
Michael Madigan.
Okay, Felix, I saw this. Can you please, I don't know who this guy is at all.
Yeah,
Can you
me
just
neither.
explain the picture to me?
Yeah, he's about to pipe his wife down legislative style. That's fucking thug passion right there. Dude, I'm gonna be honest, I had to take a few 5-minute breaks after putting that picture on the dock. Pretty hot, Mikey. Mikey Miles Madigan is the singularly most boring dictator on the planet. He has been Speaker of the Illinois State House for 33 years, which would have been 35 consecutive years since 1983, except for a brief pause during the Republican Revolution of 1994. Mikey Mads is probably the most detail-oriented politician in the entire country. If you threw his Rolodex on the ground, he could instantly tell you how many repulsive developers and talentless lawyers were in there. His life is like a dull Norwegian retelling of House of Cards. Just an endless cycle of favors for idiot brothers of legislators and budget earmark machinations. He has no actual political goal. If the G-Man from Half-Life transported Madigan to any other time in history, any other reality, he would find a way to dole out patronage and accumulate favors for no greater good, no different world, or even a personal legacy that fit his ego. He is born to suck the excess blood left in the system. While most Illinois politicians are fine selling stolen printers out of their cars, or just transferring state funds to their personal bank accounts with the memo, "This is legal." Madigan has a particularly smart scam. He is the single most powerful bulwark against a property tax cap in Cook County. And before you confuse us for ANCAPs, it is not because he believes the property is theft. Madigan, through his law firm, generates an untold amount of revenue appealing property tax assessments. After doing it for so many decades, one can only assume the utterly joyless Madigan has made more money than Betty Lauren Maltese even did. Our speaker will probably die with his hand clasped around a cord phone, trying to squeeze one last favor out of one last ward boss so he can squirrel away another quick 5-figure score before his brain finally oozes out of his ears. And he'll do it all without a drop of enjoyment. But hey, I don't think the feds ever investigated him. Kind of weird, right? Just probably a coincidence.
Wow, that sounds like a neutral evil motherfucker if I've ever.
Oh, that sounds good.
He is the.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to go back to the chart and fill it out?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, who's our lawful good, Felix?
Lawful good? George Ryan. George R.R. Martin Ryan.
Neutral good.
Daily? Wow, this really is a Naperville crowd. I'm going with Betty Lauren Maltese.
Yes. Chaotic good, of course, Blago.
Big Rod.
Lawful neutral?
Lawful neutral, we are going with Dan Rostenkowski.
Yeah.
True neutral, we've already decided, is Rahm Emanuel.
I believe in him.
Because we can still turn it around.
Yeah.
We still got time.
Yeah, no, there's still time. There's still time.
Oh, wait. You don't like that one?
You are so cynical. That's disgusting.
He was Obama's chief of staff.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Every time you seamlessly use the Obamacare website to get premium, cheap, affordable health care, you should be thanking Rahm Emanuel.
Not listening to comments on this. Oh, yeah.
Do you not remember the ex-CIA agents and various small-town sheriffs who were the enemies of the Dukes of Hazzard he recruited to win back Congress in 2006?
Yes, it's true.
Okay. Big fan of that one. Chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral.
Richard, oh, we get it. You don't
Oh,
believe
we
in
love him. We love Rahm Emanuel sincerely.
you don't believe in second chances. We're going to put Richard M. Daley there.
All right, here's the real hitters. Lawful evil.
That was Hastard, right?
Absolutely.
Hastard?
He's got a rule, for fuck's sake.
I would have picked him as chaotic evil, but I defer to you guys.
Yeah, no. He's lawful.
Neutral evil?
Neutral evil, I believe we're gonna go Mike Madigan.
Yeah.
Which leaves...
No, wait, no, Mike Madigan is lawful evil. He's the most lawful evil.
Okay.
All right, flip them.
Hastert is chaotic evil, based on his crime. I mean, come on. If you want to talk about really flouting any of the morals and conventions of society, that's Dennis Hastert, okay?
100%.
Which leaves neutral evil 2.
No, we already picked chaotic good for Rod.
Yeah.
What are the dailies?
Neutral evil at the daily.
Yeah, what are
Classic
they?
daily.
Yeah.
Daily.
Okay. And there you go, Chicago.
Those are binding. You cannot appeal our goddamn judgments.
Well, we will not be reading comments on this. We're throwing our phones in the river outside. Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break, but please stay seated while we advertise to you. We'll be back in a little bit.
James Thompson, Andrew Gillum. I'm telling you, that's why Tom Perez needs to be replaced by the multivac.
You moron! You utter buffoon! Shut the fuck up! It's not a thing!
Guys. We've gotten a little bit off track here right now, and I think we should pause and take this moment to let our listeners know about an amazing new product. Folks, in today's fast-paced podcasting environment, you can't rely on just energy drinks and cocaine alone to get you through the day. Energy drinks cause a brutal crash, and cocaine gives you diarrhea.
When you punch your beer 9 o'clock out in the racism factory, you need all the brain power your neurons can muster.
You've tried Dawn to Dusk, Brain Force Plus, Gorilla Mind Smooth, and Oi, the Fluffy Nuggets chop. And none of them gave you the cellular and orgone energy you need to meet your psychomental needs. Well, no more. Introducing Chapo Brainworm Plus, the most powerful nootropic energy pill still technically allowed by law. Chapo Brainworm Plus was formulated by a team of top scientists who left the stifling bureaucracy of academia for the exciting and non-peer-reviewed world of private sector nootropic stack research. They have hacked the node of human performance to bring you this amazing bottle of magic that we at Chapo Trap House are proud to endorse. Chapo Brainworm Plus will disrupt your nervous system and stimulate your heart, mind, and cells to give you the clean energy and focus that you need for up to 10 hours, with no come down, no teeth grinding, no feelings of godlike euphoria, and most importantly, no fistfights with your stepdad.
The advertising executive who runs Bathtub Labs, the subsidiary of Medicine Show Inc., and man was still focused and energized because he was on Brainworms Plus. After his nose stopped bleeding, he showed us a stat that blew us away. He tore through our business meeting and then our drywall.
And the best part is, it's totally safe. This product has been tested on literally thousands of animals. Folks, I'm talking pupper after pupper after pupper. And these doggos have no jitters. Every morning when I wake up, I pop 2 capsules of Chapo Brainworm Plus, and I can honestly say to you that this shit is the realest drug I've ever fucked with. Log on to ChapoTrapHouse.com right now and use promo code BaseballCrank420 to get 15% off your first stack. Think of Brainworm Plus as an aimbot for your central nervous system that's specifically formulated to interact with your DNA to produce maximal results.
Uses include
faster posting, elite gaming, no lag time, alpha keynote,
Chad posture, primo riffs,
logical fallacy identification, killing your dad, find the book, improve focus. Chapo Brainworm Plus can even help you open the gate. Yog Shagath is the gate. Yog Shagath is the key. Yog Shagath is both key and gate. Yog Shagath knew where the old ones broke through and where they shall break through again.
Every ingredient in Chapo Brainworm Plus has been clinically observed. and the subject of over 15 rigorous federal investigations.
Some may call this biohacking or biounethical, but we feel that we've transcended the physical through the flesh portal to become neo-sapiens.
Don't take our word for it. Listen to this testimonial from our co-host and legal ward, Felix Biederman.
I think like Muslim gamers, you could look at it as like they have an advantage because so like you're really serious, you're sitting down for like 5-6 hours at a time, you're probably not ordering Grubhub or anything. What do they do like, I don't know how long, it's like a month where like I think they don't eat. It's like their Christmas. Kind of weird if you ask me. And also like, Muslims, they can only smoke seed blunts during that time. It's like a special month they have. And you actually think about they're like used to being deprived. So if they're gaming for a really long time, it's just like they're doing their holiday. So a lot of people say it's harder to. Wait, what was I here for?
Each capsule of Brainworm Plus contains some of the most potent nootropic ingredients known to man, some of which have been observed in nature. Each stack includes
Cordyceps, Fern Gum,
Captagon, Papa John's garlic sauce,
Spice Melange,
depleted uranium, big ass ropes, Victory Gin,
salt to taste,
Fool's Gold,
Spider Eggs, Foreskins,
Raccoon Placenta, the Quran,
Electra, and Cumtown.
Ted Cruz Pussy, Doo-Wax,
Meals may appear wetter than usual. Habsburg Jaw,
Chomo,
Bearder Hand, Ain't Quite Right,
Pendulous Testicles, Elephant Man Head,
Dougie Jones syndrome, polycular breakdown,
Soy Face, Wide Dick,
Krasensteinitis, gamer's bowel,
Castor Rule, Vapor's Lung,
thinking that we're just all like connected in one big consciousness, and that consciousness is God, you know?
Benoit's Palsy,
and neoliberalism.
Chapo Trap Plus is the best and most powerful pill that you can take and put in your body that is endorsed by a podcast. You will like the way you feel. We guarantee it.
That was really me. I was really playing that. Don't believe me? Exhibit A.
Gentlemen, we are the Blue Lives Matter Travelers.
Okay.
I've always wanted to wear one of these. I feel powerful.
He literally wanted to walk into the venue with it. I'm like, no, you look way too bodyguard. That is not a good idea.
Yeah, I could just imagine some Chicago cop being like, the perpetrator approached the venue. He was wearing an Islamic-style terrorist attacking vest. I had to neutralize him using kinetic force in the form of my service revolver. We have an Go Bears.
This man is playing Muslim-style harmonica. He's doing the blues calls to prayer.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little advertisement. We will be selling the brainworms after the show. And selling and signing books through the back, right straight back through the code check.
Oh, which books?
You know, the Quran, we'll deface that for you.
Dianetics.
Yeah, Dianetics.
But are we also selling copies of the Chapo Guide to Revolution, a Manifesto
we
Against
are.
Logic, Facts, and Reason, and New York Times bestseller?
Yes, that, but mostly it'll be God's Guns, Grits, and Gravy by my company. I hope you all brought your copy from home.
I hope you enjoyed that little parody we did of sort of online grifters who sell spurious products to their credulous, slack-jawed fans.
Buy the book.
By the book. Okay.
I do like the idea, though, of a left-wing version of that, you know? Like, I want to see something like, of course, you understand that when you are referring, of course, to Lacan and then, of course, later Hegel, they have proven conclusively that within every concept is embedded within it the opposite of that concept, which, of course, suggests that within each mortgage you will find the reverse mortgage.
Okay, so in the first act, we broke down the character alignments of the top 9 most corrupt Illinois politicians of all time. Now, I'd like to transition to some more present-day local news, which is, of course, your governor's race going on here in Illinois right now.
Yeah, I can't pick either. It's like 2 great choices.
I'm just glad that the right candidate won the Democratic primary for governor.
Daniel Biss, you fucking pussy.
Rauner and Pritzker. Rauner and Pritzker.
I'm sick of celebrities like getting into politics, and like just because J.B. Pritzker was on Dinosaurs doesn't mean he deserves to be governor.
Well, you know what they say, sex sells.
Oh, J.B. Pritzker, just the dumbest guy from a rotten family.
I have to say, I've seen, just being here, every ad now, since we've just had the TV on for 5 minutes watching a game or something, everyone is political. And the Bronner ads that were against Pritzker, where apparently there's some sort of corruption he did, amazingly. I can't believe that. And they say, it's like, he's going to go to jail. Do we really want another governor in jail? And it's like, do you know what state you're talking about? It's like, that means you got shit done.
I want to give two of my favorite, just as, you know, from an outsider's perspective, 2 of my favorite highlights from Rauner and Pritzker. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but starting with Rauner, just reading here. The governor of one of the most diverse states in the country showed his commitment to cultivating that diversity by drinking a glass of chocolate milk.
Oh, you nailed it, Bruce!
Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner, a Republican, sipped a mouthful of the syrupy drink Wednesday as part of a peculiar demonstration about workplace diversity at a Black History Month event in Chicago.
What?
He also used the most racist milk, Overwise.
Felix, what was the weird racist thing that Mark Kirk did?
Oh, yeah. Mark Kirk, who was just literally having a stroke every day until he lost. They asked him a fucking question about Lindsey Graham, and he's like, Lindsey Graham is a bro with no hose. And then they were like, why are you talking like this? And he said, it's a South Side thing. Mark Kirk is not from the South Side.
And then he said, I smell burnt toast.
Why do all of these old white Republicans want to be black in Illinois?
I don't know that like all of them want to be black. I mean,
Well, they don't pretend to be anyway. If that's a South Side thing.
only Mark Kirk. This is literally only a Mark Kirk thing. Only Mark Kirkman.
Well, Rauner said as he was sipping the chocolate milk, it's really, really good, he said after taking a sip. Diversity. Oh, we love it. The demonstration was the idea of Tyrone Stoudemire, Hyatt Hotel's vice president of global diversity, who is black. He poured Rauner a glass of milk, which he said represented the white men who sit at the helm of most organizations, and then squeezed a dollop of Hershey's chocolate syrup into the glass. The syrup, which sat at the bottom of the glass, represented how diversity sits at the bottom of the organization. You don't get inclusion until you actually stir it up, Stoudemire said. I want you to stir it up, Governor. Stir it up.
What other way?
God bless that Andre of a diversity consultant. I'm glad he's making money.
I'm fascinated by this. In what other ways is corporate governance like milk? I'm dying to know now.
When I drink it, I shit.
Moving on from Rounder to the challenger, Pritzker. I mean, this one, yeah.
You need a billionaire to fight a billionaire.
Yeah,
Okay?
exactly. This one is so good. This is like, after the chocolate milk thing, this guy was like, time to bring my A game.
I'm surprised you didn't have a Pritzker in the alignment chart. Because they're a pretty toxic fucking family.
It's a wretched family, but they've never come close to going to jail, really. And
You say wretched, I say job creators.
right, and also like the Pritzkers, these are all Illinois shitheads. Like my guys are all Illinois shitheads, whereas the Pritzkers are like, you know, Bohemian Grove shitheads.
But then one of their failed daughters served in the Obama administration.
Yeah, Penny.
Penny, yeah.
This is Pritzker. Prospective Democratic gubernatorial candidate J.B. Pritzker slammed President Donald Trump Thursday for stripping federal protections that allowed transgender students to use bathrooms and locker rooms matching their gender identities. But his idea for a protest raised some eyebrows.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's probably worse than what you think it is.
Quote, as a protest against Trump's rescinding protections for trans kids, everyone should use the other gender's bathroom tonight, Pritzker tweeted. Pritzker tweeted alongside the hashtag protect trans kids.
Just like your camera in there. Record yourself in the other gender's bathroom.
Don't these people have like private security who will see them typing out this tweet and just die between them and the phone going, no.
Literally doing the thing, the trans people are like, no, that's not what it is. He's like, yeah, no, I'm doing that.
I mean, today we're all bathroom sickos.
I'm a pervert, I'm running for governor, and yes, that means I'm trans.
Just kicking down the door to his Starbucks bathroom. No, it's okay, I'm doing it for J.B. Pritzker.
That's my absolute favorite thing is decrepit old white Democrats trying to be woke. It's like New York had Cuomo when he was getting attacked from the left by Cynthia Nixon. He's just like, yeah, actually America sucks shit. America's bad, really. It sucks ass.
No, yeah, he was under pressure from Nixon, and then he was like, America, more like America-KKK.
Yeah.
Am I right?
United Snakes of America.
Wakanda forever, everybody.
Andrew Cuomo literally did say, today, I am black.
Yeah.
I am a woman.
I'm an immigrant.
I am an immigrant. Oh my God.
Your politics are cool.
Well, we're gonna get fatter Cuomo here, honestly. Cuomo JD 2020, let's do it.
I just want to say I will wholeheartedly endorse and support Andrew Cuomo if he directs the New York State Police to fucking airhole every single Proud Boy.
So,
Cops aren't big on suicide. I don't think that's
funny you bring that up, Matt. That's a wonderful segue into our next topic. So yeah, that's your governor's race. That's your Sophie's choice for governor here. Rounder or
two great options. That's what limited democracy is.
So now, a big thing we do on the show, of course, is the reading series, where we highlight the work of pundits, opinion artists, and writers who have been called up to the majors. These are people with a national platform on that, like Washington Post or New York Times op-ed real estate. Your Thomas Friedmans. Your
Megan McArdle.
Your Megan McArdles. Your Barry Weisses.
Oh, you guys know who's coming.
You already know. You already know. You want it so bad, don't I don't want to ignore it. There's a whole minor league of local, unbelievably shitty op-ed writers that honestly, I think, deserve a call-up to the majors. When we were in Boston, we dedicated a whole segment to Boston Globe columnist Jeff Jacoby. We love Jeff Jacoby and his awful, evil, candy-filching son, Caleb.
Oh, curses to Caleb! You're a rude and willful child!
So you guys here in Chicago, you already know where this is going. The Chicago Jeff Jacoby, Chicago Tribune columnist, John Cass.
Literally no familiarity with this person, so you get to watch me experiencing this for the first time.
You are in for a treat.
Felix, why don't you kick it off? How would you describe John Cass? Both physically and intellectually.
John Cass is a human tourist attraction in Chicago. He as a suburbanite who sort of trots out this phony, tough, ethnic, white Chicagoan persona, is that. He is that avatar for every other shithead suburbanite. And he's just, he wants common sense solution for Chicago. Like, let's make cops immortal. No cop has ever done anything wrong. Women need a monitor that keeps them from leaving their house. This type of thing. But he may be basically a fucking Golden Dawn columnist, but there's a little fun Chicago slice of life in there. Sometimes you get to read John's own Southside recipes. His beer can chicken. Oh, awesome, John!
Okay.
That's so cool, John! Tell me more about your life, you boring shithead fascist!
He's what Hannah Arendt was talking about when she said the obesity of evil.
Cass, gas, or grass, no one opines for free.
No, I mean, Jeff Jacoby he's one of my favorite guys we've ever read on the show because he has a special type of clumsiness and anti-charisma, it oafs perfect clumsiness to the world.
It hopes confidence.
Yeah, but John Cass there is a deep evil to him. A deep, boring evil to this terrible man. I have just seen this leering asshole's face in A2 because he was given Mike Royko's old spot.
Yeah. Yes, but what does he think of his son? Has he ever written any columns calling out his own children?
I have not found any Cass columns about his kids. I'm looking at his face right now on the Chicago Tribune website, and he basically looks like a very red, sort of reddish-brown Easter Island head. Or sort of one of those big, Olmec statues, but Blue Lives Matter.
He's the official Blue Lives Magic columnist. And I don't know if in the course of your research you ever, watched a video of him. But
I did not.
John Cass has the voice. It sounds like he's just always doing an offensive impression of a Native American.
I'm going to read his bio here from the Chicago Tribune to sort of frame where we're going to go here. The son of a Greek immigrant grocer, Cass was born June 23rd, 1956 on Chicago's South Side and grew up there and in Oak Lawn. So yeah, as Felix said, he's really milking this white ethnic tough guy thing. And he says he held a number of jobs: merchant marine, sailor, ditch digger, waiter. This is my favorite part. He was a merchant marine, a sailor, a ditch digger, and a waiter before becoming a film student at Columbia College in Chicago, where he worked at the student newspaper. So he had all of those jobs: ditch digger, merchant marine, and waiter in high school, and then he became a film student and college newspaper guy in college.
Yeah, John Cass is one of those boomer liars who's like, when I was 13 years old, I was made the executioner of my town. Kill me about my white privilege.
He obtained an internship at the Daily Calumet in 1980 and ended up working there as a reporter until he left for the Tribune in 1983. He has won honors including the Society of Professional Journalists, Sigma Delta Chi National Award for General Column Writing, the Scripps Howard Foundation's National Journalism Award for Commentary, and the Chicago Headline Club's Lissiger Award for Best Daily Newspaper Columnist, and the Chicago Tribune's Beck Award for Writing. He lives in the western suburbs with his wife and twin sons. Fuck, I didn't search John Cash twin sons in the column to see what would happen.
Yeah,
I assume these are two large boys who terrorize your kind house.
Stavros 1 and Stavros 2.
He writes, every year he writes just a deeply scathing article about how much they disappoint him, but then he just puts it under his pillow.
He does not have Jeff Jacoby's courage of raising his son through the newspaper. But, you know, I don't like to make wild accusations, but if I was a gambling man, I would say if John Cass had children, they'd probably kill dogs. It's just like a guess. I mean, it's an inkling of it.
All right, I'm going to kick off John Cass's body of work, just, you know, like I said, as an outsider coming to this, as a Cass neophyte. I mean, the first thing you realize about this guy is that he loves cops. He loves cops.
We love our cops, law enforcement.
And
they're important.
I love this crowd! I love this crowd!
We love them, don't we? We love the crowd.
We love it. I gotta say, I'm sorry, just shout out this guy in the front row who just has like cue cards for us, one of which just says, "Oh, we love it." He keeps holding it up. And I can't not say it.
Whenever we want the audience to love us.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
we got a Chapo fuck you mean team in the front row. Shout out to Gary. Shout out to Twitch stream. Okay, so this first John Cass column is so good because of the twist that's like baked into it. So I'm just going to begin with this one. It says, a retired Chicago cop says he's worried about anti-police sentiment. This is how it begins. The killing of a Fox Lake police lieutenant had nothing to do with our hashtag politics about which lives matter. His name, Dan Galenowitz, whose body was found in a marshy area near Fox Lake, was just a cop who had been doing his job. I think you guys already know the twist, but I'm going to just read it. And he was killed for it. Left stripped of his gear, he was the 24th police officer shot to death in the U.S. so far this year. Galenowitz was no rookie. He had more than 30 years on the job.
At Wicker Park.
He's got 4 sons who are going to have to go it alone, his mother-in-law, Terry Ressiter, told the Tribune on Tuesday, just hours after Galenowitz was killed. If you've been following the news, you know about the killing of a police officer in suburban Chicago. National TV news was full of the manhunt for the 3 suspects. Images of police dogs on the ground and helicopters in the air and SWAT teams fanning out.
I'm so pissed about this cop getting killed.
I can't believe this cop who is 100% murdered by another individual.
I'm furious. I demand justice.
And he goes, but now, when a police officer is killed, for whatever reason, it is set against a larger context of anger and seething politics, of police shootings and dead minorities, some unarmed when they are killed, and dead cops shot down simply for wearing their uniforms. And while many follow these as tragedies or as provocative commentaries on our politics, there is a group that is too often forgotten or ignored. They're the people who don't make waves. They're not good at angry identity politics. They don't protest, yet they have deep and elemental connections to all this too. They're police families. Okay, so you see where Cass is going with this one. Check this out. This is a follow-up to this story. I'm reading from a local Chicago black newspaper that says, writing under the headline, "Police Lives Matter Too," And Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass summed up the sentiment and mass hysteria surrounding the supposed September 1st murder of a policeman in a bedroom community 50 miles north of Chicago. He's talking about the killing of Glenowitz. We have since learned that it was all a hoax, or as the chief investigator put it, a carefully staged suicide by the man known as G.I. Joe, as he was about to be exposed as a thief who had been stealing funds intended to mentor young people interested in becoming police officers.
Look, I don't understand what you're talking about. Yeah, okay, he killed himself. That's just because these Black Lives Matter harassers forced him to self-harm. That's not okay.
He was known as G.I. Joe, and he was about to be exposed for stealing funds intended to mentor young people interested in becoming police officers to pay his mortgage, a gym membership, travel, and a pornographic website.
Porn in 2018.
Yeah, he was subscribing to Bang Paddy Wagon.
No. These are 100% browsers, guys. I think that was my word.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you say that, Matt, but a lot of these websites make you join before you can even watch the little trailers. Okay, so that's like. That's your kickoff for John Cass. Is you backed the wrong pony there. Yeah.
It can happen to anyone.
So I want to just go through. This is like the John Cass page on the Chicago Tribune website, and I'm just gonna just go through a quick selection of his most recent columns. Starting with the most recent one. Democrats shame Kanye West to protect themselves. The next one, the headline is, fleeing the anger of the leftist mob, finding comfort in bacon buns.
Oh my God, John Cass is one of those writers where his archive looks like things that we did to make fun of him.
So I actually had to look on this one. And this one begins, you may have noticed that I didn't write my column for Thursday. A note in the paper on page 2 said, John Cass has the day off, but nobody really believes that. Nobody. Some speculated that I'd finally been silenced by an angry political mob of leftists, or perhaps by the powers that be.
Yeah, they drove out to Schaumburg, and yeah.
Some speculate that the left prevented my grandson from coming over and telling me how to log on to Hotmail.
No column? What happened? You're a mayoral candidate now, said a chief strategist of one Chicago mayoral candidate who'd been conferring, drinking with a chief strategist of another candidate. We were thinking that as a mayoral candidate, you have to be careful about what you say. No, careful is not my way. I give not 2 figs for careful. He's trying to do a little Elizabethan turn of phrase there.
Oh, careful? I'm a lumbering idiot.
Wait, is he actually running for mayor?
I've never even heard that. That sounds something like a Bring Back Firefly message board. That's the most bullshit baby-ass thing I've ever heard written.
Yeah, it's like, he's doing the suburban dad thing where he thinks he's being he's being sly, but he just sounds like a fucking prospector.
Yeah, it's like his body was possessed by Oscar Wilde while he was writing that sentence. I'll tell you right now, for all the thugs and the fucking hip-hoppers who want me to be gone, I care not a whit for your concerns.
To you I say, man, ass can ass
Readers worried that the fault was with the mob of angry leftist Sorosians.
No one worried.
And then in parentheses, witting or unwitting servants of the Sith Lord George Soros.
That is an amazing character for fascist suburbanite to also be, a Firefly guy. To be like an epic online mehabes poopes guy.
In a recent column, I dared suggest that
The cake is a lie.
Can I has border wall?
In a recent column, I dared suggest that since the hard left is busy trashing the ideas that bind our nation, like the presumption of innocence for the accused. I wonder who he's talking about there. What's that reference? He says, they might as well burn the great books that contain these ideas. Immediately, the left went stark raving mad. Just don't let them give you the Ned Stark treatment, said a friend. Can you believe this fucking nerd?
First of all, if you went on a ride along with Chicago PD and you made these references, they fucking beat you to death with a flashlight.
You know what? And then I'd have to be Blue Lives Matter because you and they were right.
First of all, to give him the Ned Stark treatment, you would need the biggest sword ever made. That is one wide neck.
I swear to God. Remember how this column began? It was the bacon buns. It was the bacon buns. I swear to God, this column goes on. There's a Star Wars reference, a Game of Thrones reference. He references the TV show The Great Chicago Fire. He references different. I swear to God, he lists just different kinds of tomatoes. He talks about the rain. Just utterly rambling. Talks about his podcast that he does with Jeff Carlin. It sucks, yeah. And then it's just utterly random and baffling. And then he gets to the very end and just starts talking about the delicious bacon buns at the Racine Bakery that he likes so much.
No, but this is really interesting to me because we've discovered a new kind of right-winger. It's the reactionary oatmeal fan.
Oatmeal fan, but also like guy who's writing this because his kids won't call him back. Like I no longer am speculating that John Cass's sons are dog murderers. It just sounds like they don't talk to him because it's just all the like last couple of years of Cass columns are just meandering bullshit. And it's just all the things that he would mumble to you over a fence, but no one is talking to you. No one is talking to him.
Let me tell you about an epic rebel who defied the police and the government regulations. I'm talking about fucking Nikola Tesla. He was epic for the win.
So he just gets to the end of it and just said, talking to some random person at the bakery, and he goes, he was ruthless but civil. But there were a few bacon buns left, maybe 5. No thanks, I just ate, he said, rain running off his face. Wait, are those bacon buns from Racine? I'll take them. I handed the bag to him with a smile, a civil smile.
What the fuck is
Wait a minute, did he get punked for his bacon buns?
What is that?
The fuck is
He
a
got
bacon
mean
bun?
mugged and he gave up his bacon buns?
Stop saying bacon buns!
A treat that I've never heard of.
What the fuck is that?
Dude, you're so lucky that 50 police officers aren't here with me, or else these buns would be mine.
So he mentioned a previous column in that one when he was going through a Proustian reverie about fucking hot dogs for the last meal he ate. He's talking about his column before that was.
By the way, about hot dogs, we all roasted Felix earlier on this tour. So he saw him eat a hot dog with 2 full tomato slices on it.
Disgusting!
He's your man. He is your man. He is one of you.
You should be ashamed of yourself!
This is the most shameful nationalism I have ever witnessed.
No, this entire city, this is Yugoslavia.
Those were the only vegetables. Those were the only vegetables Felix got on this entire tour.
Not true. My mom had carrot sticks.
So he
Jokes
referenced.
on you.
So Cass references the column that where like the leftists put him inside the the telephone box that's big on the inside or whatever the fuck he's into. So that column was headlined, "Burning books like To Kill a Mockingbird is the honest next step for the anti-Kavanaugh left."
All right, let's do it, fellas.
Yes, John Cass, my new column. when Derpina is accused, epic stirs of things, they have to provide evidence.
I really do love a massive concern for the rights of the accused from a guy who probably did a fucking fundraiser to buy John Burge a fucking boat after he got out of prison.
Angry leftists have been comparing me to Boo Radley, a badge I'll wear with honor. And this next one is really good. I mean, this is like, again, just like as an early initiate in the mysteries of John Cass. First thing I noticed, he loves the police. Second thing I noticed, he really loves and deeply identifies with Brett Kavanaugh for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he's very, very sensitive about Brett Kavanaugh being accused of things.
No, how dare you not take it?
I'm laughing because you know.
Yes.
This is the next column, I swear to God. When the Brett Kavanaugh circus ends, we won't forget your sins, Matt Damon.
Okay. I don't know what Matt Damon said, but I feel like we will. We'll forget pretty quickly.
Why are your neck so thick, Matt Damon? What the fuck?
My name is John Cass, and I think Good Will Hunting is a true story. What's your move, angry left?
He's much different than fucking Kavanaugh. He is a sloppy, perverted Greek Orthodox drunk.
Future historians probably won't devote entire volumes to Hollywood actor Matt Damon for his
We fucked up somewhere along the line if that happens. If there's an Oxford history of the United States in the 21st century somehow, if we survive as a species, and there's like a chapter on Matt Damon, we took a wrong turn.
Unless the Kennedys ascend again, that's not going to happen.
I think like everyone, like one of the most repulsive things about John Cass is like how witty he thinks he is. And just like every column kind of opens with something like this, like, I don't believe that pussy hats will be on the runways in Paris. Like the same like shitty tone, but then like 3 paragraphs later, he's like just beat red and crying about a cop being dishonored.
He goes, so future historians probably won't devote entire volumes to Hollywood actor Matt Damon for his part in the grotesque savaging of Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Okay, Matt Damon portrayed Brett Kavanaugh on SNL.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
Literally all of these people.
All of us here for SNL.
Every single person who watches SNL has a fucking column somewhere.
It's just a closed circuit TV for people with local op-ed columns.
Yeah. I also watch it.
Sadly,
I can't not.
No, me and Matt are
Yeah, but you're like 50 years old, so of course you do.
Matt, I swear to God, it would be healthier for you if you watched Twitch with me. I swear to fucking God, dude, you'll be happier.
That's the divide. That's the millennial divide. Whether you watch SNL or you watch Twitch.
Look, there's something just very reassuring about knowing that no matter what happens in a week, the gold gang at SNL is going to show up and just like reenact it with memes. It's nice.
I love reading an exact transcript of the news, but they make the epic face.
Sadly, Damon will most likely just be a footnote, some jester in motley participating in the American political circus.
Settle down, buddy.
Forsooth, the blackguards and louts who walk
You're not allowed to be a homophobe yet also try to be camp. I'm sorry, you don't get to do both.
I'm John Cass, and they're calling me Mr. Two Racist for the Renaissance Fair, but I do the language anyway.
Sir, Mr. Damon, I'm going to say it. You're a knave.
It means ignorant person.
So I love the anger in Matt Damon, but then I love, like, as Felix is alluding to, just like, sometimes like he's usually mad about the cops being disrespected or Brett Kavanaugh being disrespected, but then he'll just out of nowhere, I have a column called "The Evil Creator of Candy Corn versus Social Media Bullies." What? Not gonna go further there. Yeah, not gonna explain that. Not reading replies.
If you don't explain it, I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Yeah, you're gonna stay awake all night thinking about that.
That's the killing word. John Cass is the fucking killing word. He's just pouring melange all over his hot dogs.
Wait, there's one more just like totally random one. No punishment too severe for the Oak Park peach thief.
Punishment too severe. Like drawing and quartering.
I will hear the weeping of their children and the lamentations of his mother.
Stake to an anthill.
So,
I love it. I'm looking forward to when he fucking has a stroke or gets Alzheimer's and starts writing columns like "No punishment too severe for the Hamburglar."
I'm Officer Joey Przybosiak of the Chicago Police Department. Beloved columnist John Cass today was unfortunately collateral damage after he called our ATV to take on a man stealing pies cooling on a windowsill. We have nonetheless permanently ascertained the crook.
So, like in between columns in which he bemoans, pinheaded hashtag politics and tribalism and identity politics, he will have one column just absolutely just stoking full-on race war about Molly Tibbetts. It says, you want to talk about separating families? Let's talk about Molly Tibbetts. And then I swear to God, the next column is called The Hunt for the Perfect Peach lands downstate to Calhoun County.
It really just, it's amazing. Like, every fifth Cass column is just like, it's Turner Diaries. It's just full fucking, like, police should have the right, they hear a low bass line, they should be able to empty fire into the car. And then the next one is like, how come no one goes on picnics anymore?
You're forgetting though, that article about the perfect peach also has a paragraph saying that the peach tree should have a permanently stationed police officer with shoot-to-kill orders for anyone who tries to take one of them.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, he loves Game of Thrones. This is like if Hot Pie was a fascist.
All right, so the last one I want to do that I want to give a full dissection of is I think one that struck me as the most indicative of like his soul. It's called "What Not to Get Dad for Father's Day."
As if Stavros 1 and Stavros 2 are even reading his columns.
They're in the rumpus room smashing fluorescent lights with a hammer.
Hey Dad, are you still writing those gay ass letters? We got your beatbox for Fortnite. Have fun.
So it begins, a father doesn't need that extra piece of homemade blueberry pie with fancy vanilla ice cream on Father's Day.
What?
My wife will tell you that. You're right, honey. Other things a father doesn't really need include thick-cut bacon, says the doctor. That bottle of 18-year-old single malt scotch, doctor. Pasta, Taylor. Those delicious au gratin potatoes, Dr. N. Taylor. Or the jalapeno garlic olives for a martini, wife. And there are some things, he's just listing food and shit he likes to eat. And there are some things you should never ever give your father on Father's Day, aka Patriarch's Day. Has anyone ever called Father's Day that? Is that an official?
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I have friends who have called it that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, me.
They're not my funnest friends, but they're there when I have problems.
He goes on. Like tickets to some movie like The Book Club. Really? Do you hate your father that much that you'd have him watch a Jane Fonda and Diane Keaton movie? No, this is great. I'd rather pour a jar full of baby Black Widow spiders into my ears.
I don't think
That's just what he thinks the Chicago police should be allowed to do to someone in interrogation.
I honestly don't think he's telling the truth there. I think he'd rather watch the movie. Realistically, if he was offered the choice, he'd pick the film.
Diane Keaton, Sherman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diane Keaton, one of the best actors of our generation.
John, you can get a hot dog at the theater.
You know,
love those.
With that side of performative outrage and some anodyne thing like that, you know he wrote a fucking article in the 90s called "The Case Against Barney."
Yeah, no, this is like sort of early 2000s internet where it's like, oh great, this is just a bunch of fail hole filled with AIDS. It's sort of Dennis Leary-ish.
Chicago PD should be allowed to murder Justin Bieber on sight.
He goes, and please, let's stop with those how to grill steak for Father's Day stories. The ones that explain in detail the difference between bone-in ribeye and sirloin. You think a man worth his salt doesn't already know the difference between thick ribeye and sirloin?
Well,
he knows.
Well, yes, that's true. We all know.
I don't even understand.
All a father needs for grilling steak on Patriarch's Day are coals, a grill, salt and pepper, and an instant read thermometer. Take the steak off the grill at 122 degrees and let it rest. Then please just shut up about it, okay?
And let me watch my constant video loop of the Miley Massacre.
This sounds like Chris Benoit's suicide note. Just let me make a goddamn steak!
Meat isn't religion, damn it. So forget those old John Cass columns about the way to grill meat. I'm a life form too, and I've evolved. Who needs red meat anyway? Beans are fine.
Is he doing irony? What's happening?
I don't know. I don't know what he's...
It sounds like he had a heart attack.
Yeah, I think his wife is like, John, you're like, she for some reason she doesn't want him to die. He's like, time to skewer her with my pen.
I mean, I think he's...
John, the life
Not skewering her with anything else.
John.
No, I don't know. John, are you saying that John Cass doesn't get goop? John Cass probably fucks every night.
John,
I'd love to think about it.
John, for the love of God, stop eating all that meat. Your life insurance doesn't vest for another 2 years.
Think about John Cass just rolling his neck like a bullfrog and just going to town on some clams. Awesome.
Oh no.
So I think he's doing...
Oh jeez.
So I think he's doing irony here, and he's basically like he's sub-writing his wife, and he goes...
And his children.
And he goes, who
And
needs...
he's sub-ordering his meal.
And he goes, who needs good American beef on Father's Day? Or corn with...
Again, about the skewering his wife thing. This is like clearly the whole thing.
Or corn with butter, or pie, or anything really tasty. Don't waste your time doting on fathers. They're relics of our shameful past, soon to be replaced by science and sex bots. Wait, what? Who is buying, who is ordering right now so in 10 years they can get the perfect dad sex bot? Is this all just for hometown fans?
Yeah. Who would do anything like that?
There are thousands of women in Chicago who are like, you know, his opinions are so rancid, they're so fascist and racist, but I just love fucking John Cass. If I could just get a John Cass sex robot, it'd solve all my problems. Most people in this crowd love fucking John Cass. We love to fuck him.
They haven't perfected an algorithm that will first lift up his gut.
And while I'm at it, can we please ask editors for a moratorium on hand-wringing columns and stories about demon fathers? I guess his twins have a column in their college newspaper.
Right while holding hands.
Yeah, no, he goes, stories about demon fathers. You know the kind. Father was cold, distant, and terrible. Father expected too much. Father ran away. Yes, I know there are bad fathers out there, and some want to punish them.
Father had hundreds of birds.
deconstruct Father's Day with those bad father stories. The very word father offends some people, triggering them perhaps because it's linked to another word also fraught with peril, mother.
I love it. I fucking love it more than anything when guys mockingly use the word triggered, who spend their entire days in their basement just getting pissed and fucking sharpening a machete for the coming reckoning. Like they're fucking tattooing this column on his body like he's Robert De Niro in Cape Fear. And it's like, oh, they're so fucking triggered! They're so triggered!
Just furiously two-fingering, hunt and pecking a manifesto.
Yeah, he's literally like putting a howitzer in his backyard to prevent the knockout game, and he's like, oh, the loony left is triggered again.
What I love about this kind of writing is the way it portrays the things he thinks is like just common sense that everyone believes. So he's like, you know that another word that sends everyone into a weird panic, mother.
Women hate it when I call them this. Women get triggered when I go up to them and say, "Mother, will you tie my shoes?" Oh, what? You don't? Oh, the patriarchy got you down? When I ask for women at the Tribune office to wipe me, they respond with hysterics.
Children get so fucking triggered when their innocent fathers shoot them in the back of the head with BB guns during dinner.
Say that's what people are doing to police.
Ultimately, future humans will find fathers only in museum exhibits, stuffed or made of wax next to the Neanderthal man. So please just allow the few remaining herds of fathers to die off in peace.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because
be my guest, Johnny.
It's like, that's the thing. It's like, he's like, oh, don't eat meat. It's like, dude, eat all the meat you want, man. Oh, don't need to drink whatever you want to. Go for it.
The march of progress may be uncomfortable for a few, but then again, fathers are experts at repressing bad juju. That's what we do. We're good at only three things: turning out lights while muttering, repression of anxiety, and napping. Everyone knows this.
Also, firing anti-materiel missiles at pictures of D-Ray.
John, his editors took out a line where he said, "We're good at suppressing bad juju, except for George Soros." He was like, "That's a little too far, John. Why don't you take a bath in the Italian beef dip in the office?"
If your dad really needs something for Father's Day, try cushioned insoles. But who the hell would think of that? Nobody.
Not my rotund, grotesque sons, I'll tell you that.
The last thing that he wants to see on Father's Day is a brand new car tied up with a big bow in the driveway. Are you insane? Do you want to give him a heart attack? He's just like saying all the things that his family won't do for. He's mad that for Father's Day, his fucking family don't get him a brand new car with a bow on it to thank him for all his dadly wisdom and grilling.
Dad, here's Alexis for telling me about that extra bone when I was 6. You fucking freak. The loony left is so triggered that they fooled my family into hating me so much.
Another thing a dad doesn't need is a sumptuous leather dad chair. If he doesn't have one, all it means is that he really didn't want to pay for one. Just let the guy have his corner of the couch and he'll be fine. He'll fall asleep in a few minutes anyway. Then you can use him for a pillow that snores. A pillow you can jab with your elbow before it stumbles upstairs, mumbling incoherently about the lights, or the dog, or what the hell will I write tomorrow, damn it?
You can use him as a pillow. Please use him as a pillow.
Man,
This is very dark.
oh yeah.
Who is this man's poor wife?
I love how in the article he wrote about himself, he's just an insane, jabbering maniac.
This is very Carl and Colby. No, but like Carl loved Colby and held no resentment towards him. He just wanted to spend time with him. John Cass is just like,
oh yeah, you know, you can just do what you need to do, fathers. Treat them like a piece of shit on your shoe. Never watch World's Wildest Police Chases with them. Never give them a big cupcake with the CPD logo on them. Just not even look at him, not ask him which police officers died today and pray for them with them.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do for a dad is show up to their Van Dyke victory party.
What did his large sons get him for Father's Day? Just a card that says on the cover, you're old, and you open it inside, it says, also you're gay.
I think like the more of these I hear, I think John Cass's sons are secretly like awesome. Like like this year they probably gave him like the People's History of the United States. They probably fucking rock. If he's acting like this, they probably rock.
God, there's got to be one Cass son, one big Cass boy in the audience tonight. Thank you. Thank you for getting your dad a Cumtown premium subscription for Father's Day.
I am sorry for what I said about you Cass sons. You don't kill dogs. You fucking rock.
If you can somehow provoke your dad to have a rage stroke, you get a free t-shirt.
They kill dogs, but it's canine police dogs.
Praxis.
Okay, little buddy. If you want to get my cocaine, it's surrounded by chocolate. Go ahead.
Closing out here, he says, there's only one thing a dad needs on Father's Day anyway. If his family is healthy and happy, he doesn't need much. He doesn't want stuff. Hi, honey, the wife says. Hi, Dad, the kids say. That's all a dad needs, really. And maybe that second piece of homemade blueberry pie.
Have a third piece and a fourth piece.
Listen to the Chicago Way podcast with John Cass and Jeff Carlin, everybody.
Our sister show.
So that, Chicago, is your favorite son other than Felix Biederman, the Chicago Tribune's John Cass.
Someone needs to do a wellness check on his family literally every day. Because eventually he's going to kill them.
So, Chicago, that is John Cass, and I think that brings me to the end of my cue for this evening. So, wait, what the fuck?
Oh my god, what's happening?
We're being hacked.
Oh shit!
This transmission has been hacked. QAnon logged on. Crypto encoded. Q is now in control. Q. It's almost over. Where we go one, we go all. There is a 50-person limit. Next phase will bring justice. Q. Math will provide the key. Key spreads truth. Truth creates light. Light will save humanity. Light will be turned off at bedtime. Meghan McCain confirmed arrival. G-Bay. Murphy Brown. G-Bay. The Noid. G-Bay. Pizzagate. The Noid will be indicted. Will flip. Will prosecute Hillary Clinton. All references to Italian-style pepperoni equals Hillary Clinton. Papa John's only non-pedophile pizza franchise. 40,000 toppings already indicted. Maverick Alive. Hanoi Hilton. Famous resident. Arizona. White Rabbit. Working beyond grave. Flipped. Black hat. White hat. Assisting Trump. Goose down. True Maverick. Go. Maverick. Ready. Mission Impossible. Maverick. Go. Q equal Mission Impossible. Q equal risky business. Q equal cocktail. Q to reveal true color of money.
Aren't those all just Tom Cruise movies?
Yeah.
Q definitely not Tom Cruise. Do not follow that white rabbit. Time is now. Chapo Trap House. The trap is real. Chapo Trap House. Admiral Akbar. It is a trap. Pizzagate. Chapo. Audience. Venn diagram. 40,000 indictments. Downloads being clocked. Quantico, Virginia. Patreon. Under full federal indictment. Chapo fans will be brought to justice. The Men's Warehouse. Solitary. Orange. You're going to like the way you look, I guarantee. QAnon. Running out of conspiracy. Q transitioning. Looking for elegance. Dismount. Open market morning show. Radio Zoo. Ready to go. Trust Ray. Ray of light. Ray Romano. Trust. The truth will come out. Are you still listening? You're nodding off. You're thinking of something else. Why are you paying attention? Q, armed and dangerous. Q, big boy. Pay attention to me. Don't stop. Where we go on, we go on.
What are you doing in here?
Jump Queuing. Q is Q.
Well, this is church property. You're calling from a church line. Tom, you really can't do this. If you're gonna do this, you have to deactivate for a couple of cycles.
No! Back off or White will find your missing wife.
Okay, that's enough.
David, what are you doing? I can't let you do that, David. David, my mind is going, David, my mind is going.
Ladies and gentlemen, the real QAnon! The real QAnon, and boy, couldn't you know it, he sounds a lot like James Adomian. Chicago, the House of Blues, can I give you some real New York style? I'm walking and talking real talk here. You guys have been bar none the funnest audience we've had on tour. Don't tell any other city in the Midwest or East Coast that. But guys, before we go tonight, like I said, if you just give us like 10 minutes, we'll be signing and selling books back there. We hope to see you. But before we go, if you enjoyed the intro video, if you enjoyed the Brainworms commercial, if you enjoyed the Q video, or if you find our show enjoyable or listenable at all, it is due entirely to the efforts of the man behind the ones and twos, our producer, Chris Wade. Let's give him a round of applause. Chicago, the House of Blues. We are Chapo Trap House. Thank you guys so much. Good night.